You're listening to Party Nerds Weekly.
What's going on, everybody? This is James Grandmaster Facts Voice, and welcome to the Party Nerds Podcast. Yes, sir. All right, today we got a very special topic, but first and foremost, we got some very special guests. First and foremost, my man Jorge, the evil editor.
What's up? What's up?
What's happening? It's happening, man. Look, hope everything is all well. And then we got first time on the program. Well, actually, this actually might be the second time on the program. My man Ralphie. Thank you for joining us, bro.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. So what we wanted to touch on today is something very specific, and it's more so specific to what we do here as content creators, and it is mainly spoiler culture and what it has been derived into, and have we created the monster? Because honestly, to say so myself, we are guilty of it. We are absolutely guilty of doing this, and I feel as though it's gotten a little bit out of hand because nobody is being called out for their nonsense. So D23 has came and went pretty much, and a lot of accounts were pretty much focused on the fact that there was going to be some very big reveals coming out of D23, namely the casting of Fantastic Four. And so on and so forth. A lot of big names were pretty much brought up to be cast in the fact of who was going to portray these characters. Two big names pretty much were in the ire of everybody, and that happened to be Henry Cavill, yes, Superman from DC, basically joining as Victor Von Doom, Dr. Doom, and Jodie Comer from Killing Eve being the Invisible Woman. Now, D23 came and left. Nothing absolutely happened. And then everybody pretty much went nuts because they felt like that they were promised something. Now, I ask you, the both of you, and people at home, think about it amongst yourselves. Has it gotten out of hand? Are we responsible? Are we responsible for creating a monster that is spoiler culture, for basically riding a wave and adding to this bullshit?
When you say promise something, that sounds like a big thing of entitlement. What do they mean promise something? What the fuck?
Yeah, because go ahead.
I mean, I can understand for excitement reasons and hyping, to build up anticipation, because I try to look at it like the good out of it, the benefit of the doubt. Can we be wrong for at least trying to hype up a situation? Can we? Not really. I'm gonna let you go. That's a question for y'all. Question on top of question.
No, but the thing is, we are absolutely responsible for hyping it up.
Yeah.
Because we hear these rumors, we hear the names that are attached to it. But the thing is, this only happens in comic book movies. This doesn't happen in any other movie. Like, we'll hear about an actor portraying in some movie that we've never heard of before, and we don't get the same excitement as we do because of what comic books are. And that is this basically now beyond the scales of entertainment. You want to have somebody that you've never seen in a comic book movie be portrayed, or somebody jumping ship from DC to Marvel, Marvel to DC. And this then provides the wheel of content to come out as much as possible.
I have to sit there and say, like, as much as content is good, obviously, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's literally the threshold of what the internet basically is, social media and all those types of stuff. With all of that, I think in essence, it's great to imagine. Let's just sit there and put that out there. It's great to imagine. And what do you think comic books are? They're all imaginations, obviously, from something now reinvigorated in life and all that types of stuff. I think us creating that engine is to at least give that imagination a broader aspect. Because now, now that we know that it's not true and stuff like that, but it's nice to imagine Henry Cavill could have been Dr. Doom. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act as if I didn't believe it was true, because I was out here thinking, you know what? That's actually really good casting. So, in essence, don't you guys feel like it's a sense of imagination that comes behind all of that hypeness and stuff like that?
Well, it's a wild internet, so anyone can doctor up a CNN looking image or a video, hyping up saying Henry Cavill will be Victor Von Doom, and it makes it look so real that people believe in it. So when they believe, they start sharing it, they start promoting it, and the wildfire begins.
Now we understand that there's a business behind this, because a lot of people have these spoiler accounts, and yes, comic book theorists and comic book pundits that are pretty much out there that are making this into a legitimate business.
Oh, really?
They are making dollars.
Wow.
Putting out content and basically telling you that. Now I ask you this, telling you exactly what's either sometimes right or all the way wrong. So what job have you ever been hired for where you're allowed to be 75% wrong?
I want to blow my contacts. I don't know if I got it.
Like literally, there might be some aspects of their job to where they were like, oh, you know what? He got it right this time. But yet they have to continue to put out content, because that content, of course, attributes to their views, it attributes to their subscriptions, and so on and so forth. But in the midst of those subscriptions, engagements, interactions, algorithm functions, they get paid.
Regardless
Of what's happening, regardless of the lies, regardless of the nonsense, regardless of the bullshit. So
sound like a politician right there.
Exactly.
I know.
Absolutely. It does sound like
or a weatherman, because they always get it wrong.
Absolutely. You're a meteorologist at this point.
Yeah.
Straight up and down.
Right.
So we're relying on people who are not journalists. So some of them may have insiders, as they always say, or people who, or the beginning of their videos be like, well, an insider on the set of this so and such movie told me that they saw on set for the very first time Tom Cruise as Superior Iron Man. Lies. Because you remember when Multiverse of Madness came out. I mean, if we really got into the entire foreground of what we're talking about, if Multiverse of Madness came out with the entire fan theories that everybody posed into what was going to happen, Tom Cruise was in it, Nicolas Cage and Ghost Rider was going to be in it, Wesley Snipes as Blade was going to be in it. Chris Evans as Hydra Cap and Chris Evans as the Human Torch was going to be in it. All three Spider-Mans were going to be in it. So, like, it was just going to be a plethora of vomit throughout the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
And yet that did not happen.
Mm.
You know? So, like, this entire cast got pretty much blown up. Now, note, there was, of course, some surprises that came in there. Superior Iron Man never showed up. It was a variant of Captain Marvel, which was Latasha Lynch, who happened to be Monica Rambeau's mother in Captain Marvel. Of course, you got John Krasinski, who now that's an attestament, because basically he got fan cast so much for years until finally he got cast as Reed Richards.
So you're saying these companies do listen to?
Yeah, these companies absolutely listen, because some of them make sense. Some of them make sense.
AKA Sonic.
Yeah.
Just wanted to plug that in there. AKA
absolutely. Sonic. Some of them make sense. Sonic isn't attributed because they put out a trailer and everybody was like, yo, that shit sucks. And then they went back to the drawing board and pretty much got it right.
Back to anime Sonic. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So they got it right. And they didn't have him straight up looking like a trash possum.
What about the three Spider-Men?
But he actually,
No Way Home.
I will absolutely get to that, because that was another bit of news that happened this past week. So John Campea, who happened to be who is currently on YouTube, he used to be the host of Collider, which when it was on as a YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And he recently, when No Way Home came out, he leaked basically Andrew Garfield and Toby Maguire being shown in the movie, deleted it instantly and was like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry, I put that out there." But then now, just as of last week, he's supposedly supposed to be a journalist, so he gets screeners. We've gotten screeners before.
Yep.
We're not supposed to release any type of review from the screener unless we get an embargo. Once the embargo is lifted, then you're allowed to say exactly what you want about what you saw. What he did, he went over a friend's house who got the screener and got to watch the first 4 episodes of Andor, which is about to release on Disney Plus tomorrow, and started to basically spew what he saw. He didn't get the screener, but he told exactly what he saw. So not only could he get in trouble for doing that, but yet the person who he went over to his house, he could get that person in trouble. He could probably get that person's screeners taken away.
Oh, they're definitely getting in trouble.
For sure.
So Marvel, DC, a lot of big movie companies release screeners, TV shows, movies to a lot of the pundits out there, a lot of the journalists out there, in order for them to report on the movie and exactly how they're going to respond to it. And then yet, even in that midst of just responsible journalism, they decided to spoil it for themselves. Why? To be the first in the action, not to be the right one, but to be the first one. So what is the problem that we have where we always want to be first?
That's an ego thing for each person. Like, oh, I want to be the first one to tell about this movie. So that way I'll get all the likes, I'll get all the attention, I'll get all the glory.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the credit. It's literally all the credit. It's just, I was there first. I literally put this into existence. Now praise me. Ego.
Yeah. And the thing is, even in that sense, even the bad press that they get is also giving them content. I guess with the act of a lot of journalists that were actually doing their job, they were suspicious as to the fact that somebody who is not in the same circles as they are put a spoiler out there that wasn't supposed to be there.
What if I'm sure there are many accounts of diehard comic book professionals, theorists. So how can those guys who are very intellectual, they go by the source of the comic and whatnot, go up against these clickbait spoiler accounts? Because people are easily drawn to the headlines, to the Photoshop pictures right away.
Well, see, I think there's a difference out there, because a lot of the journalists, of course, went to school for journalism or went to school for writing and became writers and basically worked their way up the ladder in order to get the screeners in which they have. And these influencers, content creators, YouTubers that are pretty much out there getting the same type of information. The thing is, are we giving that information to the wrong people?
That's true.
Should we just give them to the journalists? But the thing is, they want that content to be out there. They understand that if there's an overexcited YouTuber that has a reaction video where he damn near has a fucking aneurysm, when he sees the video of what he just saw, that's going to provide so much more content than somebody that's just literally there writing on a piece of paper.
And then if you really come to think of it, how you kind of just explain it is, news is going to be news, whether you take it, but bad news is going to travel a lot quicker than good news. So, you can have, the Nobel Peace Prize, whatever you want to call, like a Pulitzer, and it's probably a good read, but is that going to be interesting? No, give me the wham bam, give me that Photoshop that says, John Boyega, Human Torch, put him in flames. Of course, that's going to attract, because it's a lot easier to go towards something that, again, that could be potentially negative, as opposed to, look, there's legitimate citations and sources through here. Bad news travels faster.
I think instantly at the end of the day, this is now turned into almost a battle of sorts between people who are actual journalists and people who are dabbling on YouTube, who having to get some type of weird ass source that is never going to come true.
The fake news era.
Absolutely. It's still out there.
Yep.
People are literally putting out content to put out content. And it doesn't necessarily have to be content that's always true.
That's right. So it's up to the viewer. So now the viewer has to, dude, they have to do the research now.
Oh man,
They have to go.
it's so
back check.
horrible to
Yeah.
be a viewer nowadays.
Yes.
But here's a question for both of you guys. Then, as a person that's, not so heavily all into comic books like that, again, I'm kind of like a regular Joe out here. What would you say would be a way for a regular Joe, like myself or, Jim, whoever, to find that type of source? Like, where would one go to get that research taken care of?
Well, there's a lot of course, established publications that hire, they have entertainment writers that go out there to actually write about comic book material. Now the thing is, there's a lot of like basically false accounts out there that you may not know of. Like you may think of Variety magazine or Hollywood Reporter to basically give you good information, truthful information, but yet you have like an account like Giant Freaking Robot that reports the news to you. They are a verified account wherever they're at, but it's only because they're just popular, because they'll tell you what we got this covered.
No,
we got this covered as another one,
bro.
My God, they will tell you that your mom's left foot is blue, and you know what I'm saying. It's just supposed to be. It's supposed to be truthful. Half the shit that they report, I don't know where they get it from. Like that dude just wakes up and has an idea. Him and his staff. You don't want to give them the attention that they deserve because they're spewing falsified information, but yet they continue to do so, and people continue to listen, and it's almost to the point where anything goes at this point. So it's difficult to say, like, people don't have the integrity to actually like read every single one and be like, that's the correct one.
Because everyone's got a narrative. They want people to follow the "we got this covered" narrative because they have an agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they did a side deal with another company. Say, hey, can you write about this and promote this brand and all that? So it's all an agenda. Everyone's got an agenda.
Exactly.
So,
and the thing is, they got sponsorships behind them now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So aside from the fact that they're getting monetization off of like YouTube, they're selling shit. They have ads of things that they sell, whether it might even be Marvel material. So like even like a publication like Marvel or any other comic book company, because they're talking vividly and having multiple, like a massive amount of views towards their film, their comic book, their TV series or whatever, they're still getting dollars. There's money backed into this.
Well, maybe Marvel and all these comic book companies sees these sites as discussions.
Yeah, of course. I even suspect that after like basically this video gets thrown on like YouTube or anything like that, but like, how can you talk about YouTubers and you're on YouTube? You know what I'm saying? I was like, well, I wanted the point to get across to a lot of YouTubers, so I had to put it on YouTube in order for people on YouTube to see the shit. You know? so unfortunately, it's not that I'm digging on the profession. It's that it's what I said earlier. You're putting out 75% of your content is falsified information, and yet you are a highly paid individual because you're not a responsible journalist
with the blue check.
Oh, with a blue check, absolutely. Like the verified accounts, basically, they get the invitations to the red carpets for the events. They're there to be the influence because they have so many followers and so many subscriptions. They want to see them at the events so they can showcase to their fans that, hey, Marvel invited me, even though 3/4 of the shit that of the fan castings that I put out is 75% wrong. Even Marvel is playing into it, so it's like almost at this point, where are the journalists at?
I mean, every journalist. I mean, I feel that journalists these days, I'm sure they're afraid to write because people backlash. They don't.
Everybody's so opinionated. That's another thing as well. Everyone is so opinionated by the moment you put something out there and it might not be to your view. There is a barrage of negativity that can come your way and downplay you. Again, as a writer, especially you, just downplay you all the way to the bottom of the pit, just based off of what? Because I reported the right thing, or this is what it is.
Mhm.
It wasn't flashy enough. That's another thing I think that plays a part into why maybe that good, writers are having an issue. Is because if I put something that triggers somebody, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. What benefit do you get by putting out shaky information and you're being put out there as a trusted source?
But here's the thing, right? A journalist, they put out the right stuff, but then they get backlash by these people. But then the bean counters and the editor in chief of the journalist works for, they see all this negative backlash, and they axe the guy because they're not getting the right, they're getting the wrong kind of attention or whatever. So yeah, of course, the journalist is gonna turn rogue and start posting, falsifying shit. I don't blame them.
Right. This is true. I mean, at the end of the day, you got entire websites and accounts that are pretty much dedicating themselves to this type of content, to just misinformation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's almost like you have to be the one to, as the reader and as the viewer of that content, you have to be the one not only to determine it to be false, but you have to be the one to call it out that it is false. Like this, I remember, I think we got this covered pretty much, posted the fact, I think they talked about Hydra Cap forming in like the last what was it? I think it was in Winter Soldier. It was going that was going to be the direction that they were going to go. We got this cover had memes about the bullshit that they put out there, and pretty much they're still running to this day.
Memes is another one. Memes is another wildfire.
Yep.
That creates buzz and people start discussing what if this,
Absolutely. So I feel like at the end of the day, I mean, we do our due diligence because we try to basically, even though we may be late with the material, we try to have some integrity in putting out trusted material. Whether it's what we do here on the Party Nerds or so on and so forth, any type of content that we put out there, to just be honest with the crowd. I'm not going to tell you that Red Hulk is going to be in She-Hulk.
Yeah,
because I'll be lying to you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to tell you that Red Hulk is going to be in Thunderbolts, because I'd also be lying to you. They revealed who's going to be in Thunderbolts. I guess it's a 50-50 situation. But hey, that's all the time that we have here for today on the Party Nerds podcast. I'd like to thank Jorge out here, the evil editor, who's going to be chopping this up pretty soon. Ralph for being here. Thank you, man.
Hey.
All right.
Thank you guys. It was great.
So for everybody out there, you can catch this on YouTube, and I'm sure they're going to be dropping this on Instagram. So Party Nerds, we are out.